Eric popping in here before we start. We had some minor technical difficulties that we discovered after recording. Should not interfere too much with the enjoyment of the episode, but if you hear a little extra pip pops and hisses, we apologize, and we should be back to normal next time. People are getting murdered at the Belleville Hall Pet Fair, and it's up to Barnaby and Winter to find the killer before the victims multiply like rabbits. We're talking tragic endings.
The history of pets.
And Winter with a crush in this episode of
Welcome to Midsomer.
Hello and welcome to Midsomer, the podcast where we dissect all the mysteries, the murders, and the many weird things about the long-running hit TV show, Midsomer Murders. I'm your host, Eric Buscher, and with me as always is my co-host, Eileen Becker. Hey, Eileen.
Hi, Eric. I never say hi, Eric. I always say hey, Eric.
Okay. I don't know.
I know it's always written that way, but anyway.
Wow, this is the time you finally stick to the script?
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eileen. Seems so natural now.
All right. We're talking about Red and Tooth and Claw, the fourth episode of the 19th series. It originally aired on January 18th, 2017. It was directed by Steve Hughes and written by Lisa Holdsworth. Let's groom our rabbits. That sounds really dirty.
Yeah, I'm leaving all this in. Spoiler warning, we will be discussing the events of this episode, including the identity of the murderer. So if you haven't watched it yet and don't want to know who done it, pause this and go watch it. We'll still be here when you get back.
It's our turn.
Our turn to...
Take a fun family photo with Bernie for the nursery scrapbook.
Fun? That sounds ominous.
Yeah, well, apparently some people take their fun a little bit more seriously than others.
It's the Belleville Hall Small Pets Show, where local animal owners compete to be best in show, most notably rabbit owners. Sarah and Betty Barnaby wander the show enjoying the bunnies and attempt to get a picture of four-time champion Hercules. But owner Timothy Benson rudely tells them no photos, then calls his fellow competitors Drew Varman and Cleo Langton amateurs. Cleo's daughter Tegan helps run the show with hall owner and historical romance novelist Delphi Hartley. Tegan's boyfriend Seb Huntington pops by to give her a kiss, then approaches Timothy about a time-sensitive offer. That night, Seb breaks into the show and begins freeing the rabbits, but someone he knows approaches him and kills him. The next day, Seb's body is found by Timothy's wife, Ailsa, who is working the show as the owner of a local pet food store. Their daughter, Belinda, owns the local inn with her husband, Perry Trussell, where a mysterious man named Errol Judd checks himself in. Barnaby arrives at the crime scene and Winter informs him that Seb worked for the local estate agents, and no one saw or heard anything. Villain coroner Dr. Oliver Marcet says Seb was stabbed in the neck and no murder weapon has been found. Ailsa tells him that she and Timothy are currently separated, and she says she was alone doing inventory at the store when Seb was killed. They talk to Tegan, who's being comforted by her school friend Shrey Varman, Drew's son. She said that initially she was put off by Seb, but came to believe he really loved her. Delphi can't imagine anyone wanting to hurt the pet show. It's the happiest week of the year. But it isn't a moneymaker, and the only way they break even is with the support of a sponsor. She says she was asleep when the murder occurred. She later argues with Shrey's brother Jayesh about money for a new oil tank, money she doesn't seem to have. Turns out that Seb worked with Cleo and Shrey at the estate agents, who say everyone seemed to like him. Cleo developed an allergy to rabbits later in life, and the only thing that allows her to keep her bunny, Agamemnon, is that he has short hair. She has prescriptions to deal with the severe attacks. Shrey tells them that Seb was trying to get the Bensons to sell their home and shop since they are getting a divorce. But Timothy says they are not getting divorced, even if he is living at his daughter's inn. He claims to have been alone at the shop the night of the murder, too, which means one or both is lying. Timothy reports that someone has taken Hercules. He'd been planning to rent Hercules out to Stud. So this is a real financial blow for the whole family. Winter discovers that in the 90s, Perry wrote to the local paper calling the pet show cruel, but he claims he just doesn't like animals in cages. Ailsa says the pet store might not take part in the show anymore as Delphi has doubled the fees and they can't make a profit. After he leaves the store, Jayesh arrives, and the pair kiss. Belinda tells the detectives that her folks fight every year around the time of the pet fair because he becomes obsessive and she feels neglected. But this time it seems way more serious. Timothy accuses Cleo of stealing Hercules because she wanted Hercules as an exclusive stud. So much studs in this episode.
Lots of studs.
Dr. Marcet says Seb was most likely stabbed by grooming scissors. Seb is also responsible for letters criticizing the show sent to the show's sponsor, which has caused them to pull their support. Cleo tells him that Seb's uncle is a regional manager at the estate agent, so he's a bit of a Nepo baby and behaved as such. He had been sniffing around some of Cleo's accounts, including Delphi and Belleville Hall. Delphi's finances are in a precarious state, and her publisher just rejected her latest book for not being smutty enough. Tegan was aware that Seb was trying to get info about Delphi out of her. Barnaby thinks Seb was trying to scuttle the fair to force Delphi to sell, and was probably the one who opened the cages. Belinda tells the detectives that Timothy was confused about his alibi and was actually at the bar the night of the murder, which is clearly a lie. She tells her dad that she knows he didn't get back to his room until the early hours. So where was he? Well, maybe he was watching Ilsa meet up with Jayesh. Cleo drives past Errol as he walks down a country road, then recognizes him and attempts to run him over, but he escapes. She heads to the inn to learn if he is staying there, and then gets Perry to let her into his room to snoop around. Later, she goes to a house she is showing to meet with a potential buyer named Mr. Lewis, who turns out to be Errol. They haven't seen each other in 15 years, and he claims that he is a new man and has quit drinking. He wants to see his daughter Tegan, but Cleo says no. But that doesn't stop Errol from approaching Tegan on his own, and the pair of them confront Cleo. Apparently, she told Tegan Errol was dead, which Tegan is just a wee little pissed about. She's also mad that her mom never told her what Seb was clearly up to. Cleo leaves defeated. The next day, as she is driving, she turns on the AC, and all of a sudden she can't breathe. She pulls over to look for something, but ultimately dies in her car. Tourist info. Welcome to our first and only trip to Belleville Hall, home of the happiest time of the year, the Small Pet Show. Assuming it still exists after this because it was bankrupt at the end of this episode. Hopefully the inn will stay open, which has a lovely pet playroom. Honestly, I would just want to live in that room.
Same here. Now, much of the filming of Belleville was done in Long Crendon, Buckinghamshire, just a few miles from Tame. It's a frequent filming location for Midsomer, and many of the locals appear as extras. They probably brought along their rabbits and guinea pigs for this episode. The buildings used for the Belleville Inn and the Eden Moss estate agents were both located in Long Crendon. The town itself dates back probably to the Iron Age, with Roman and Saxon periods unearthed. It was known as just Crendon until the English Civil War, the Long being added to differentiate it from the nearby Grendon Underwood. Nearby Notley Abbey was founded in the 12th century and was once owned by Laurence Olivier and Vivian Lee. The town is known for its preserved thatch-roofed cottages, nearly 100 English heritage listed properties, and for Long Crendon Manor, which was seen in The Axeman Cometh and A Christmas Haunting.
So the title of this episode, Red in Tooth and Claw, refers to as a line from a Tennyson poem called In Memoriam, which is technically about how nature can be violent. But the poem has also been interpreted to be about how competition can be violent. So, which is clearly a theme both with the animals in the pet show and the violence of the competition theme of this episode.
I would make a Monty Python joke about, killer rabbits. But they also used the phrase just tooth and claw for a Doctor Who episode, the one with Queen Victoria. So for Doctor Who fans, the phrase would be familiar as well.
So this is the Belleville Hall Small Pet Show, and I want to know, when is that large pet show coming? I want to see some because this is Midsomer. There's going to be some weirdo with a tiger. Or a jaguar.
The Tiger King.
The show includes, obviously the bunny obstacle course.
Which was very funny. It's like, yeah.
Come on through. Here's a carrot. Come on through the tunnel.
But bunnies don't seem quite that trainable.
No, they don't. There's also a guy in a giant bunny costume who I felt sorry for. Delphi says that it's a very popular thing in the village, that it's the happiest week of the year, which I would believe. It's hard not to look at all those bunnies and the cute little furry things and not feel some sense of joy.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were all Betty Barnaby in the start of this episode. Bunnies!
Yeah. This is a very cozy episode. It's we don't talk about Midsummer as not being a true cozy. I think this is actually a true cozy.
Yeah, this is a very cozy episode. It's kind of a bloodless murders, even though like
Mhm.
one guy, like they say, like this guy got stabbed in the neck, and but you don't see any blood.
Yeah. Yeah, very little blood, yeah.
I mean, the crime scene. I mean, technically, that crime scene was adorable.
It was the
Uh,
most adorable crime scene ever.
I was like, "Oh, look, it's a dead body. Oh, it's covered in
Bunnies,
bunnies."
bunny bunnies.
But then why was the pet show still going on after that?
Well, they had to make everybody happy again.
It just seems so ridiculous that there's a guy murdered on the grounds of the pet fair, and then they're like, and then like, can you please hurry this up and like we just like get the body and the bunnies back in like 5 hours so we can get this thing. Like, there's not going to be crowds of people going, well, where was the murder?
Yeah.
What? Why is this whole area taped off?
I don't think Seb was all that popular.
It doesn't matter. Like murder scenes are like even in Midsummer, you got to
Yeah.
like. I cannot believe that people are so blasé about murder
I
that
don't
they just
know.
walk past the tourist thing going, bunnies,
Yeah. Yeah.
bodies, bunnies, bodies, bunnies.
Like you said, this is Midsummer. Murder happens.
Yeah,
I think they have gotten a bit blasé.
yeah, yeah. I like that this episode had a bit of a best in show sort of feel,
Mhm.
but like less humor, but definitely with the pettiness
Oh, yeah.
of the fighting, between like sort of Timothy and Cleo. Drew,
Mhm.
Drew was just sort of like poor Drew was just like with his giant ass rabbit.
Yeah.
Um,
There were some funny bits, yeah.
yeah,
It wasn't the absurdity that you get out of a Christopher Guest mockumentary, but it definitely had its very funny moments.
yeah, and it was nice seeing all their little rabbits. So there was
Mhm.
Hercules, Agamemnon,
Agamemnon. Drew's rabbit is named Shahrukh, and he was named after the ruler of the Timurid Empire in the 15th century. He was the son of Timur, also known as Tamerlane, which he's best known for in the West, who conquered most of Central Asia. So that goes along with these really, mythological or very kind of um, uh,
classic name.
and very aspirational names like Hercules, Agamemnon. There was a Perseus, a Titus, a Shakespeare, Dionysus, and then there were sprinkles.
And Xena, warrior princess.
And Xena, warrior princess.
Which I kind of just loved that they made that actress have to say the name Xena, warrior princess.
And it was a little hamster.
Yeah, it was very cute.
Yeah.
They just at one point I think Winter describes the crime scene as all a little bit Alice in Wonderland,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, if maybe someone had cut Seb's head off.
Throw cards all over the place.
Off with his head.
They're cracked eggs.
So there is a point where they talk about Seb. We don't really get to see a lot of Seb, but Tegan says that Seb is not very good at taking no for an answer, which seems to be a recurring theme in this episode. Is that people are not good at taking no.
Yeah. There's some low-key toxic masculinity in here, which we'll talk about at the end. But, it starts off with Seb, who's a very naughty kind of guy. He's
Unscrupulous.
He's unscrupulous, yeah.
He is what you think of when you think of a real estate agent.
Yeah, he really is, yeah. He's out for himself. He doesn't really care about who he, brushes aside along the way.
Yes.
And he's a bro.
He is. He's definitely in the manosphere.
Yeah.
And then we get a classic "What are you doing here?" Which is the phrase that pays.
With your death.
Yes, people really in Midsummer need to figure out like what their proper last words should be.
Oh, it's you. What are you doing here?
Here.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's that axe?
Why are you carrying those scissors?
Yes, I would like some cheese. All right, all right. So obviously, Pet Fair is the location for this episode. So many bunnies, and we thought it would be fun for Eileen to take us through the history of pets.
Yeah. Humans have lived alongside other animals for millennia, sometimes as predator, sometimes as prey. At some point, while we were still hunter gatherers, some wolves began to hang out close to humans, probably to feed on the scraps that the strange bipedal creatures left behind. Around 20 to 40,000 years ago, these wolves began the genetic divergence to a more dog like ancestor. It seems to have happened in different parts of the world around the same time, and wolves and then dogs may have accompanied humans on hunts, especially of large animals. Humans knew that a pack of wolves was capable of taking down an animal much larger than they were. What may have started with socialization became what many consider domestication. Dogs were the first domesticated species and the only known animal domesticated during the Pleistocene. It's also the only large carnivore to have been domesticated. A useful symbiotic relationship eventually transformed into companionship. Human and dog co-burials date to at least 17,000 years ago. Dogs, however, were also kept and bred for working alongside humans, for hunting and eventually herding. Like wolves, they were also used for their meat and fur. Ancient Egyptians were known to have kept dogs as companions, even giving them names, which was significant as names were considered to have magical properties. They were often buried with their owners. Based on tombstone inscriptions, ancient Greeks and Romans grieved at the passing of a beloved dog. Our long relationship with dogs has led to around 400 breeds, along with countless mutts. They range from tiny chihuahuas to massive English mastiffs. They have been bred to hunt a variety of animals, from rats to deer, to herd all sorts of livestock, and to be guards. Later, as they were bred more for companionship, traits such as floppy ears were associated with a more even temper, and who can resist those puppy dog eyes? Dogs have been called man's best friend, and they're certainly his oldest. During the first agricultural revolution, humans began domestication of livestock animals. Sheep were probably the first around 11,000 years ago, followed by goats, pigs, cows, then eventually horses, camels, and chickens. While they have sometimes been considered pets, most are more associated with their usage as food or drayage. Horses, camels, elephants, and other animals have also been used in war. Felis catus, or the domestic cat, evolved from the smaller line of cats rather than lions and tigers and leopards, no matter what they think. They are in the same genus as the African and European wild cats and the Chinese mountain cat. There's debate over whether domestic cats are truly domesticated, merely socialized to humans, or only domestic when they want to be. Cat owners will understand. Cats originated from Near Eastern and Egyptian populations of the African wildcat. The earliest evidence of taming of an African wildcat dates to around 7500 BCE. It's thought that wildcats started hanging around humans because humans attracted rodents, especially with their storage of agricultural products such as grains. As with dogs, proximity led to familiarity, and soon cats were allowing humans to scratch them behind the ears and give them pets, but not for God's sake, don't try to rub the belly, they're not dogs. Anyway, cats still tolerate humans, especially when they are worshipped as gods, as the ancient Egyptians did. While cats and dogs are the most popular pets, other small animals have their aficionados. Rabbits were rumored to have been domesticated due to a papal decree by Pope Gregory the Great in 600 CE. It is said that he declared that rabbit fetuses were not meat but fish, which meant that they could be eaten during Lent. French monks then rushed to breed rabbits rabbits, in order to supply the demand. However, there was no such edict, though domesticated rabbits did originate around this time in France. They were another source of food and fur until they eventually became pets. Other small animals who made the leap from food and fur source to pet include ferrets, gerbils, hamsters, chinchillas, guinea pigs, and other rodents. People also began to keep a variety of birds, reptiles, fish, amphibians, and arthropods. The ancient Egyptians also kept baboons as pets, and other wild animals, especially primates, have been welcomed into people's homes, or at least yards, though it's not recommended to keep a wild animal as a pet. Keeping pets purely for companionship was something only the wealthy could do until recently. Until then, your dog and cat were expected to provide some work for their keep. But during the 17th and 18th centuries, pet keeping became more popular, and the explosion in pets really took off during the Victorian era. The Industrial Revolution moved more people from the farm to the city, and the rise of the middle class led to people keeping pets as status symbols as well as companions. The pet care business also thrived. As pets became more popular, so did stealing them and holding them for ransom. Laws soon defined pets as the property of their owners, with thieves punished accordingly. Pet shows also developed in this era. While livestock had always been displayed at county fairs and festivals, where you can still see which lop-eared bunny won a blue ribbon, pet shows include competitions for dogs, cats, hamsters, and rabbits. The Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show has been held annually since 1877, the third longest continuously held sporting event in the U.S. Crufts, held in the U.K., was first held in 1891 and is the world's largest dog show. In addition to the famous, though controversial, conformation shows, dogs also can compete in agility competitions. Cats also compete in competitions, though most think that being best in show is a distinct downgrade from being worshipped as the almighty goddess Bastet. As they say, dogs have owners, cats have staff.
So people who listen to us, they probably know that we are pet owners, animal lovers. They may or may not know that our animals are the bane of our existence when it comes to recording this podcast. There is not I don't think we've had a single taping where we have not had to stop because either a cat was bonking the wires or a dog was like trying to get settled in its bed and
Yeah.
just making loads of noise. I think as a whole, we've probably edited out at least 2 podcasts worth of animal problems.
My cat Isolde, called Izzy, is actually kind of comfortably ensconced over by the TV right now, behaving for once.
I don't know where Nola is. That is my cat. She was checking out the room a little while ago, but I think she might just go be sitting in the sun in her favorite little spot.
Yeah.
So, hey, you want to take us to cast highlights?
Sure. Sterling Gallagher played terrible driver Cleo Langton. She was nominated for a number of UK soap opera awards for her 6 years on Doctors, playing George Woodson. She also married her on-screen husband, Sean Gleason, in real life. We met him when we talked about Harvest of Souls. She also was in the original Office with Ricky Gervais, as well as EastEnders, Coronation Street, and Casualty. We gotta love a couple that Midsomers together. Aisling Loftus was constantly grieving Tegan Langton. She's appeared in A Discovery of Witches, The Midwich Cuckoos, and Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Most recently, she appeared in Sherwood. Amit Shah was Lovelorn Shrevarma. Shah graduated from the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, and at age 26 he was named one of the 50 top British actors by The Observer. He has appeared in Crashing, The Witcher, Happy Valley, and Murderer Before Evensong, starring Neville Longbottom. It was actually very good. Highly recommend it for Midsomer fans. Steve Pemberton played bunny kisser Timothy Benson. Pemberton is probably best known as a member of the League of Gentlemen, the acclaimed and slightly surreal comedy group and show that he created with his college mates Reese Shearsmith and Mark Gaddis, along with Jeremy Dyson. He also appeared in Happy Valley, Whitechapel, Benidorm, and most recently he played Rupert Murdoch in The Hack. Sarah Crowe is Jayesh Kisser Ailsa Benson. She's an Olivier Award-winning actress who appeared in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, The Steal, and Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom. She is also a published author with 2 novels. I kept thinking she looked familiar, and then when I saw that she was in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, it's like, oh yeah, she was the bridesmaid who made out with the groomsman at the first wedding and was the second bride. Because she kept every time she talked, especially, I kept thinking she looks familiar, and then she was the one who did the I don't know you, but I love you when she was drunk. Sean Gallagher was just trying to be a good dad, Errol Judd. He's appeared in Coronation Street, EastEnders, and 5 Days at Memorial. He is a big animal lover in real life and appeared on a charity episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to raise money to help end bear dancing in India. Simon Nagra played Big Bunny lover Drew Varma. He's appeared in Doctors, 3 Girls, and D.I. Ray, as well as a number of RSC and National Theatre productions. Navinder Bhatti played bad boy Jayesh Varma. Bhatti appeared in the series 3 Shades of Brown, as well as guest appearances in Vera, Casualty, and Gold. Tom Price was Chumbawamba fan Perry Trestle. Price has appeared in Torchwood, The Wrong Door, and Stella. He is also an acclaimed stand-up comedian who currently hosts a radio show airing 4 to 7 p.m. on weekdays with Kat Schub called The 4 to 7 Show with Tom and Kat. Very creative. Titles are hard, guys, I guess. Vanessa Hare played animal room designer Belinda Tressel. She's had a long career in British soaps appearing in Doctors, Emmerdale, and Coronation Street. Michael Obiora was our fill-in coroner, Dr. Oliver Marcet. At age 9, he became the youngest actor to appear on the popular children's program Grange Hill. He's gone on to appear in Bombshell, Tomb Raider, Out There, and the classic Doctor Who episode Blink. He's also a director, novelist, and children's book author. Maxim de Villiers played dead guy covered in bunnies, Seb Huntington. He appeared in Legend of Tarzan, Hollyoaks, Queens of Mystery, and Eurovision Song Contest. Looks like he also started a company to help businesses recruit commission-only sales reps, which is probably way more lucrative than acting.
And while we had no real return visitors this week, we had a number of uncredited visitors this week who helped make that bunny obstacle course seem like the hottest ticket in town. Thanks to Rajawasti, Kishore Bhatt, Stephen Hawke, Glenn Webster, Joe Wheatley, and Anik Wiggett for fleshing out the world. And a big shout out to our beloved mayor of Midsomer, Chris Wilson, who played a police officer in this episode.
I wonder how many of them live in Long Crendon.
Our village star this week is Susan Hampshire, who played clean and pure historical romance author Delphi Hartley. Now, Hampshire was born in London and as a child had some developmental issues where she was unable to read until she was 12 years old. Now, later in life, she was diagnosed with dyslexia and has become a spokesperson for dyslexia awareness. Her first film role was way back in 1947 in the film The Woman in the Hall, and she would go on to appear in things like The Andromeda Breakthrough and The 3 Lives of Thomasina. She won 3 Emmy Awards in the 70s for her performances in The Forsyte Saga, The First Churchills, and Vanity Fair. Now, in 1973, she starred with Kirk Douglas in a musical adaptation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and that is the only thing I want to see right now. Now, she married Sir Eddie Kulukundis in 1981 and became Lady Kulukundis. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but I like Kulukundis. She has an OBE and a CBE and has continued to work regularly through the years, including a long stint on Monarch of the Glen in the 2000s. And I think in the year 2025, she played Lady Carteret in the latest adaptation of the Forsyte Saga. I think it's just called The Forsytes. I believe it is on PBS.
It is, yeah, and it's on my to watch list, so I'm looking forward to that because I remember the first ones, and I remember her from that and the 3 Lives of Thomasina, which was one of my favorite movies growing up. It is about a cat, so we've still got the pet connection there. So
if she had played Alice in Alice in Wonderland, that would have been everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back with the second half of Red in Tooth and Claw.
Shakespeare. The first. Into the tube. Come on, Titus. Yeah, head out. Over the third. He's at it.
Shall we go find some more bunnies?
We're back. Let's talk about the second half of Red in Tooth and Claw.
You need to let Tegan's father go, Shrey. You need to stop this now before it gets any worse for you.
Dad!
Tegan, no.
Please don't hurt him!
Why not? He hurt you.
Now, when Barnaby mentions the theft of Hercules to Sarah, she mentions Timothy not allowing pictures, which piques his curiosity. He's then called to the scene of Cleo's death. Although it looks like a severe allergy attack, Barnaby is suspicious and asks the techs to check the air vents. Errol tries to comfort Tegan, who is heartbroken because her last conversation with her mother was the fight. Now, checking her phone, detectives find out that Cleo was being sued by Dhruv, who was injured on a rush construction job for Cleo that has left him with a permanent leg injury and lots of pain. Although his son Jayesh is still angry and sent Cleo a threatening text, Dhruv just wants to move on and apparently has already settled with Cleo. The Varden family business is in trouble, and Shrey tells Jayesh to stop messing around with Ailsa and get back to work. But Jayesh tells Shrey to man up and go after what he wants, namely Tegan. Belinda says she was always upset with Cleo because ever since Cleo helped Perry sort everything out after his parents' death, he always seemed to listen to Cleo more than his wife. Barnaby tells the whole Benson family that they need to stop lying to him about their alibis or they will face obstruction charges. And then he leaves. The techs find rabbit hair in the car vents, which was put there to trigger anaphylaxis. Cleo had prescriptions for medicines and an EpiPen, but nothing was found in the car. They talk to Shrey, who tells them about Cleo's scheduled meeting with Mr. Lewis, which turns out to be a fake name, which we already knew. Winter investigates the house she was showing and finds a pair of grooming shears. They learn that Errol had a lot of charges stemming from his drinking days and go to talk to him. Now, he says he has been sober for 3 years, living in Thailand, and was not happy to come back and learn he had become a footnote to his daughter's life. He says he was not aware of Cleo's allergies, which developed while he was gone. Meanwhile, Tegan asks Shrey if he stole Hercules to help his dad, but he denies it. It's quite clear they care for each other, but they don't seem to say it. Errol asks Tegan about coming to Thailand, but she doesn't seem interested in leaving Delphi. The date of July 18th, 2012 is engraved on the shears, and blood tests prove they are the murder weapon. They ask Ailsa if the date means anything to her, but she says it doesn't. The fur that killed Cleo came from a French lop, much like Delphi's, but she says anyone could have gotten it. Her bunny is a bit of a tart if you have a cherry tomato. She doesn't know the significance of the date, but she says it would have been around the time of the pet fair. In fact, that was the year of Hercules' first Best in Show. Timothy admits that the scissors are a gift from his wife, who lied, but they went missing in the Great Bunny Escape. Meanwhile, someone takes a key from Delphi's desk and uses it to open a mysterious door in her basement. Tegan talks to Shrey about Errol's offer and says she might take him up on it. She had to use her own money to cover Delphi's new oil tank and the concrete to cover it. She tells Delphi that she will have to sell the hall as she's out of money. But Delphi reveals she has a plan to keep the building. She takes her to the basement, telling her that she has a room full of antique fur coats that she inherited, which will cover the cost of the building. Except when she opens that door that we saw someone going into earlier, the room is empty, and Delphi says the furs have been stolen. When they alert the police, they mention Errol had seen Delphi coming out of the basement. That, coupled with his arrest record, makes them check out his room. They find no evidence he stole anything, but they do find a driver's license for a Michael Lewis, which links him to Cleo's mystery appointment. Meanwhile, Errol stumbles across Timothy feeding Hercules in a shed behind the inn. The two argue, but then Errol gets a text from Tegan's phone asking to meet her behind Belleville Hall, and he goes off. Belinda tells the detectives about the fight, and they find Hercules, clearly hidden by his owner. They locate Timothy at the pet store with a giant box. Ilsa and Jayesh are also there, and then all the tea gets spilled. Timothy says Hercules passed away the day he and Ilsa fought and split up, and he found a lookalike so he could keep all the stud fees. He took the lookalike to the fair because it's the only place he ever feels respected, but he couldn't let anyone get close or they would figure out the deception. Hence, no photos. He ultimately faked stealing Hercules to get out of the competition, but he didn't kill Seb or Cleo. Now, he had Hercules stuffed, and that's what's in the box. Ilsa started the affair with Jayesh because she wanted to hurt Timothy, and Jayesh only wanted her for her freezer, because that's where they are storing all the furs they stole from Delphi. They both needed the money for their business. They are also not the killers, but yes, they get arrested. Barnaby thinks the killer is someone who wants to either help Tegan or keep her in the village, which might explain why someone knocks Errol out and drags him into the hole to be filled by the concrete. The detectives show up to the hall to look for Errol, and they find him being covered in cement by Shrey. We get the reveal. Shrey has been in love with Tiga for a long time, and when he was finally ready to reveal his feelings, Seb came into the picture. When he caught Seb trashing the fair, he figured out that he was planning to force the sale of the hall, then leave and take Tegan with him. He snapped and murdered Seb, then went to the cottage Cleo was trying to sell to wash off the blood so no one would see it. But when Cleo asked for the keys to the cottage back and then met Errol there, Shrey couldn't be sure that she didn't find some evidence. So he had to kill her too and make it look like an accident. He cut the hair off Delphi's rabbit and then took all of the medications and the EpiPen out of Cleo's purse. He feared Errol was going to take Tegan away, so he had to be stopped too. But Tegan tells him that she had planned to stay to be with him, which makes this all the more tragic. Winter manages to wrestle Shrey away from the concrete machine, and the detectives pull Errol to safety. So here is our strange kill of the episode, death by rabbit hair. Cleo dies from anaphylaxis, which is caused by rabbit hair that has been put in the vents of the car. It is a slow suffocation, as Errol puts it, a terrible way to die. Now, unfortunately, it is, according to the Anaphylaxis UK website, it is unusual to have anaphylaxis due to animal dander.
I do not have allergies or pet allergies, especially. So I had to actually kind of look that up to see if it was possible, and I guess it is, but I think it would require a heck of a lot.
Well, that's what I think that's why they kind of said this. This actually felt like they might have done a little bit of research, because the coroner does explain that because Cleo's allergies were developed later in life, that they are much more severe, and that he used sort of he compared putting the cat hair in the closed air vent system of the car, so the dander is just constantly recirculating, the same way that you could maybe someone with a peanut allergy could maybe handle being exposed, like being around peanuts outside. But if you put them inside a plane where the peanuts and the stuff like that goes up into the air system, it can become a death trap.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not that's actually possible, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I liked that in this episode they actually did try to give a little bit of realistic science to explain it, as opposed to just like, yeah, no, that's what happens. Just live with it.
There is also a subtle clue there, because as we know, when she goes to Rose Cottage to meet Mr. Lewis, and she pulls the sock out of the dryer, she puts it in her purse, and that sock is not there when she dumps everything out in her car. So either she removed it because who wants a sock in their purse, or the killer removed that. As we know later, the killer removes that along with her EpiPen and any other life-saving medication she had in there.
Well, I mean, when Shrey found that sock, he must have known that he clearly she could have clearly linked him back to his ordinary black sock.
Yeah.
It just stands out.
Yeah. It's a weird clue. It's never explained. I had to kind of watch 3 times to kind of get that clue.
Well, it's a clue to the audience. It's not a clue to the detectives, because the detectives never know it's there.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that, because a bit with the detective work, because the audience has several more clues than the detectives have.
Yes. And I also just feel like it's a clue to the audience, but also, so she just kept a sock in her purse for like, she would have just kept a sock in her purse for like days.
Yeah.
Our killer this time is Shrey, due to love or obsession? Question mark.
Yeah. It's weird. It is very toxic. It is actually a realistic thing, because we know that guys get this way, and women do as well. People do. I mean, especially if they're around someone they've been around a long time, they start developing deeper feelings than the other person has developed for them.
Yes. But in this case, though, it does seem like that she actually did have feelings for him, but, may have been caught up in the flash of Seb. Because she does sort of choose him. She just does decide to be with him in the end. It's toxic masculinity, but not, it's also sort of he's also not trying to really control her. He's just doesn't want her to leave him. So it's a specific specific style of toxic masculinity.
It's nice guy toxic masculinity.
Yes. Because he does seem to be relatively a nice guy, except for all the murders.
Yeah.
But then he also says stuff like, Seb didn't care about her the way he does, which is classic, obsessive Looney Tunes kind of love.
Yeah.
And it is sort of tragic. It is a tragic ending, because, if he had done nothing, it sounds like Tegan was kind of seeing through Seb anyways, and I don't think would have left Delphi for Seb.
No.
Like to go be with Seb. It was this weird panic that just sort of
Mhm.
and I guess was it an accident that he stumbled across Seb, or what was Shrey doing there?
Yeah, we never get the if he stumbled upon him, if he had been stalking him, if it
Yeah.
had just gotten too much and he grabbed the scissors, which if he had left them there, it would have definitely implicated Timothy stronger than
Yeah.
it did. Yeah. So, um, it seems a bit ill thought out and opportunistic. So yeah.
It's like it's a hole. It's a
Mhm.
hole in this episode. It's just is like how did Tim so when did like also what's the timeline? So
Mhm.
Timothy, I guess, came in, steals fake Hercules,
Mhm.
and then Seb comes in and starts knocking bunnies free.
Mhm.
Or did Timothy use the opportunity of the freed bunnies to kind of steal Hercules away? And
Mhm.
then, yeah, what was Shrey doing? Was he watching Seb, or was he just there watching Tegan?
Yeah, I do like this episode. I think it's fun. But I think the explanation of the murders is lacking in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also kills Tegan's mom and tries to kill her dad, which is one way to deal with your in-laws, folks. Not saying you should.
Not a particularly good one. Yeah. Yeah. I
Not saying
mean, yeah,
it's an option. It's an
it's
option.
an option. Yeah.
I also just thought, like, Tegan, like, for example, like, they're having their wonderful birthday picnic, and then she invites Seb. And I'm like, oh, poor Shrey. Shrey's just friend zoned.
Yeah. And like we said, if he had stayed in that friend zone just a little longer, he would have won
Yes,
out. Yeah.
yes, which is probably the most unrealistic thing in the entire episode. Once you're in the friend zone, you don't get out. There's no escape in the friend zone.
But he gets out of the friend zone and out of any potential relationship when he kills all the
Yes.
people she's involved with.
You could just feel kind of his heart break even more at the end when
Yeah.
he looks at her and she won't even make eye contact with him.
Yeah.
And not that she should have. I'm just
Yeah.
saying is it's like there is I think they actually do a very good job of making you feel sorry for Shrey in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of weird Tegan moments, like when she sees Shrey petting the rabbit, and she goes, "I
Mhm.
wish I could be a rabbit." And like, so he could pet you? What? You like carrots that much? What's going on?
And rabbits are like the most jittery animals ever. I mean, they're not that far from still being out in the wild and being one of the apex predators' most coveted prey.
There's a moment after Seb is murdered where I guess Delphi says that Tegan is far too young to have her heart broken like this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Young people get their hearts broken all the time. It is a defining characteristic of being young.
It is,
You
yeah.
will go through heartbreak a lot.
Usually starting very early, especially if you're a girl, because you develop those crushes on boys and they are still not interested in girls.
Yeah. I thought that Barnaby says a very interesting question towards after they've arrested Shrey. That did Shrey deserve a relationship with Tegan if he never risked his feelings to tell her how he felt? Like, if you're not willing to put yourself on the line for love,
Mm-hmm.
and again, this is a man who met his wife dressed as a tortoise.
I think there's a bit of yeah, and I know he's a psychologist and all that, but there's a bit of ableism in there because he does not know how people who are very shy have to deal with things. It's terrifying.
But most shy people also don't snap and commit murder.
Not too often.
We'll talk later, I think. It would have been nice to have a scene where he just said, you know what? I know this is like I care. It couldn't because this is the content. This is not a romance. This is not one of Delphi's romances. This is a murder. But it would have been nice to have it. Like, it actually would have sold the tragedy even more if he had actually just come out and said at some point in like the last 30 minutes that he loved Tegan. Said, "I love you" to Tegan, and Tegan said, "I love you back."
Yeah.
Then you find out he's the killer. Oh,
Yeah.
a real punch to the gut.
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting choice when he kicked the button after he's like arrested and still trying to kill Errol.
Yeah. And that is definite nice guy toxicity. He's lost it all. He knows he's lost it all. And he makes that one last jerk move to continue trying to kill her dad.
I just have one other question. Why are they pouring concrete during the pet fair? Have you ever been around like a concrete mixer that's pouring concrete?
They're loud.
They're loud. They don't smell great.
No.
There's also lots of little animals running around.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody would have said, maybe come back tomorrow.
Yeah. And I know it was on a different part of, side of the house from, where all the animals were, but it's still, I mean, they've repaved my road out here for days. It was very, very loud with all that concrete and redoing the sidewalks and the asphalt and everything.
It was just one of those weird, convenient things that it like in real life. No, they're not. They would not schedule it at the same time. I felt bad for Droove.
Oh yeah.
Because he feels like he let his son Shrey down. Who was the good son? I just kept thinking, wait till you find out that he is going to get a reunion with Jayesh.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah. The thing is, Droove seems like a really nice guy. This does actually have some very nice people in it. This is one of those episodes where you kind of hate everybody. This has some nice people in it. Yeah. Tegan is a nice person. Delphi actually ends up being a nice person, even though I suspected her as being the murderer because she was kind of a nice person, but she's also a little manipulative, especially with Tegan. But so you do feel very bad for Shrev because both of his sons are now going to jail.
But it is that thing of just like, for the most part, everyone has good motives.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or confused motives.
Yeah.
Shrey has got the worst motives, and then Timothy for trying to like con people out of the stud fees.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like the Jayesh and Elsa stealing of the furs, well, they at least were trying to keep their businesses open, right? Yeah. There was a little bit of a self-preservation there. Not to saying that they did was right, but it's like, I can kind of feel that. I can kind of feel that their businesses they're hurting.
These are people who, even Timothy, these are people living on the edge of financial security and kind of on the low end of that and probably under that line. Unlike Seb, who is a real jerk, who is just manipulating people for money because he's a dude. He's a bro. He's a dude bro.
I also kind of feel like that maybe if Tegan had known that her dad was alive, that she might not have been out with someone like Seb.
Yeah.
There's a daddy issue there.
Yeah.
There's a daddy issue with that choice of guy, which I think kind of explains like Cleo clearly, let's be clear, Cleo might have been a toxic mom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not only does she tell her daughter that her dad is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he's been in Thailand for years and hasn't like how long has he been gone out of her life?
Well, he's been in Thailand for 3 years, but he's been in and out of rehab, and apparently he left a lot, 15 years ago. So
So like I'm really sad to find out my daughter's like I'm a footnote in my daughter's life. It's like, oh yeah, I mean you did all that work over the years to try to keep a relationship with her, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but he didn't even know that Cleo had told him that told Tegan that he was dead. Yeah. And then like Cleo's first response to seeing is like, I'm going to murder him.
Mm-hmm.
Like she tries to run him over. And then she goes to the hotel and Perry just gives her the register and then lets him invade a customer's room.
Yeah.
No stars on my Yelp review, Perry.
Yeah. And to be honest, Perry, that relationship may have been a little too close, and I can understand why Belinda was very jealous of Cleo.
Well, it's quite clear that Tegan and Delphi had developed some kind of mother-daughter bond, which would indicate that the relationship between Cleo and Tegan is very problematic.
Yeah.
We don't really get a sense of what that is outside of that like one confrontation scene right before Cleo gets killed. Right?
Yeah.
that was the moment where you could talk about like all the other crap that Cleo had done over the years.
Yeah. It would have been nice to have another scene between Cleo and Tegan where where there's that tension is showing between mother and daughter to contrast it with her very nice, very easy relationship with Delphi.
Well, that's the only scene they're in together, right?
Yeah.
Only extended scene they're in together.
Yeah.
Which is a choice.
Yeah.
But I think Cleo was right about one thing. Tegan wouldn't have listened.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have been like sort of like, well, why wouldn't she have listened to her mom?
Yeah.
So what's the relationship? Like the relationship between them is a little underwritten.
Yeah. Yeah.
The biggest red flag around Tegan? Free trip to Thailand and you don't want to go? What is wrong with you, girl?
Take a vacation. Yeah. Everybody needs a vacation.
Look, I don't know how he's staying sober in Thailand, but I'm sure, if he is, then he's probably got a pretty cool life.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not there for the partying.
Yeah.
So at one point, when she's talking to Shrey at the fair at the very end, Tegan lays her phone on the table and the camera lingers on it. So it's an obvious clue, but it's never explained and that's when, you get that call, you see the text from Tegan's phone to Errol when he's confronted Timothy. And you kind of have to put that together as a viewer. That's not something that Barnaby and Winter know about, that she left her phone there. And they don't see her walk off without it, so you're never quite sure what it is. It's a nice clue. It's a little underexplained at the end. You have to kind of watch it 2 or 3 times to get it.
Okay. I missed it completely.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Bensons. An incredibly dysfunctional family.
Very.
Especially if they separate every year over the pet fair.
They are the Parker Posey and the other guy couple in Best in Show.
To paraphrase another comedian who I'm forgetting, but Timothy, you can love your pets, just don't love your pets. This is another part that I think you kind of have to put together as a viewer, which I do like it. There is a lot of elements to this episode that we have to kind of put together.
Mm-hmm. But
Seb was playing them off each other, right? He was telling each one that the other wanted to divorce them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because they both are kind of like, well, Seb told me that they like the other one, but they both kind of deny they wanted a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it sounded like Seb was like, talks about toxic masculinity.
Yeah, Seb is do not be a Seb, guys. Don't be a Seb. Yeah, you get that he was kind of really playing and that's why this had lasted longer than they did, and he may have started on it earlier than normal, so that he could because he knew it was going to happen. Yeah,
but see, because they don't explain that, it also makes the Bensons not credible suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's never come out as Seb was clearly, and again, the scene at the end where they're having the conversation at the store. That was the moment where you say, I didn't want a divorce. Well, Seb told me. Yeah, Seb was playing you against each other.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a viable motive for murdering Seb.
Yeah.
And I think that is a big problem with this episode is why kill Seb? There's no we don't get him. They don't ever really talk about motives.
Yeah. Other than he saw, Shrey saw Seb letting all the bunnies loose, which was, sabotaging the fair that was so much a part of Tegan's life. That's a kind of silly motive, but if Shrey knew that Seb had been playing Tegan's parents off each other, to split them up.
Yeah.
Well, actually, those aren't Tegan's parents.
No, they aren't.
Okay, so ignore that whole thing.
But if Shrey had known that, Belinda had known that Seb was doing it, or had heard it from Cleo, or heard because it's clear that Cleo and Shrey kind of knew what Seb was up to.
Yeah, and being married to Perry, who was friends with Cleo, she probably would have, been able to kind of suss that out from conversations they were having or something, and that would have made Belinda more of a suspect too.
Yeah. I enjoyed the scenes of tension between Belinda and Perry because I think Belinda was right.
Mm-hmm.
Perry was clearly kowtowing to Cleo instead, not listening to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we find out that, and Belinda's clearly keeping something from him, and then we find out she's created a pet daycare area so the inn can be pet friendly all year long.
Yeah, and it's very sweet, and I think that's what that scene was like. Oh, this is such a cozy, That's what really defined it for me. They have a nice marriage. There's some tension there because he's not listening to her, and she is, as she explained, she's the one who's doing all this work. She's the maid, the receptionist, the night porter. She does all of these roles, and he's not listening to her, and she has to find
That's
some
because
way.
he's listening to Chumbawamba and the Leftlers.
But and it's clear that he loves the animals. I'm a little concerned. I want to know how many little hamsters have been accidentally stepped on, because if they're running around the hotel with people walking around, that could be dangerous. So actually, I love the idea of this pet area, not only for the humans, but for the safety of the pets.
Yeah, although they better have a special area for hamsters and then cats, because otherwise you get called in on a triple hamster homicide.
Well, we have seen dog on badger violence.
Getting Hercules stuffed was a little weird.
People do that.
I know, it just felt weird.
Yeah.
Also, it was quite clearly a smaller bunny than the one he was holding.
Yeah.
And he faked Hercules being alive to get those stud fees, which I was a little annoyed by, because he rents his rabbit out to stud, gets $200 a session.
Mm-hmm.
I try to offer my services.
Okay, you just did Jerry
I'm told. No.
Yeah, and this is where it's actually a Murder, She Wrote episode, because they have this exact same thing except with a racehorse, and Jerry Orbach is there.
Let's talk a little bit about Delphi real fast.
Mm-hmm.
As we mentioned, she and Tegan have that really close bond.
Mm-hmm.
She is a historical romance novelist, with her latest book rejected because the editor wants more smut, which would have made it a huge hit. I mean, that is the current nature of romance novels, and it wasn't back in 28. Is like smut sells, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
The racier you make your romance novels right now, the more people want to read them.
Yeah. And she was kind of a Barbara Cartland type romance writer, which is very old fashioned, not really selling these days. But Barbara Cartland did make millions and millions of dollars off her romance novels. Did
Barbara Cartland write all of her novels in longhand?
She may have. She was quite the character, from what I understand.
All I know is that she's going to burn her manuscript that is clearly handwritten.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many hours did that take you?
And the thing is, I'm wondering, because obviously Tegan has some, secretarial duties, and there is no editor out there who accepts a handwritten manuscript. No. I have a feeling that there is a computer somewhere that Tegan actually transcribes the handwritten the manuscript onto a computer, and that is submitted to the editor. So burning her manuscript is purely performative.
Can you imagine what it looks like? Like, it's like edits. Like, how do you edit a hand? Like, scratch it. Like, it's just, no. It was that, like, that is crazy.
Yeah, that does not happen anymore.
No. So, like, I had a couple weird things all about, like, the fur stuff, which was, like, why would Errol, seeing Delphi just coming out of a basement door, make him think that there was a room full of valuable stuff down there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like, well, he saw her coming out. He must have known about the furs. I'm like, most people don't think when someone's coming out of a basement, oh, they're coming out of the fur room.
Yeah. It's more like, oh, there may be some wines, or,
maybe she was checking on animal feed for the pet. It was just
pet fair. Yeah. Because, the thing is, cellars are used for storage because they are cool. They tend to have a consistent temperature all year long, which is why they make for good wines.
Yes.
Where the word wine cellar came from. And it's great for storage. The root cellars.
Yeah.
You would store your winter vegetables in there so that they kept all winter long, and you had vegetables to eat.
Also, how did Tegan not know they were there? Like, she's there all the time. Delphi and her are really, really tight. And you would think with all the bills, she'd want to, hey, Delphi, why are we running that refrigeration down in the basement 24/7? If we cut that, maybe we could save some money.
Yeah.
I found it very implausible that Tegan had no idea about those.
And the thing is, with it being in a cellar, she wouldn't have needed to run refrigeration down there, especially in England where it's pretty chilly for a long period of time. So yeah, the refrigeration thing didn't quite work.
Why was Delphi so shocked that Drew's bunny won? His very, very, very big bunny.
That was one big bunny.
It was so cute, but it was like I need 2 hands to hold it.
2 hands and a forklift, yeah.
It's like that was the biggest obstacle for Drew. It was like he needs a wheelbarrow and he can't operate one anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, corner. We have a fill-in corner this week. Dr. Oliver Marcet. Now, this was the period during the show where Cam was the coroner, but also it was quite clear that Cam was not going to be a part of the show much longer because the last couple episodes they had replacements.
Yeah, she comes back for the final episode of the season, but the next episode we have she's gone, yeah.
And we get Fleur. And they spent a lot. I felt bad for this guy. It's like, Barnaby's not even going to bother to know your name, man. I mean, because he doesn't really get much of a. It's like a one guest shot, so they don't really give him any personality, except that he seems to know a rabbit guy.
Yeah,
I got a guy who can help me identify this rabbit fur. I was like, okay. I'm sure there's a story here. Or are we gonna? No, we're not gonna bother learning the story. Okay, bye.
Now, see, with Fleur, we would have had a long explanation of how she dated a guy who knew all about rabbit fur. And how they broke up, and the rock star, and then the rock star that they had a threesome with. So
yeah, she had a vet boyfriend. Remember?
Yeah.
And then there's clearly, I think the biggest loss with the Cam character was the that Cam and Winter will they won't they romance.
Mm-hmm.
They were starting to develop. You get a lot of like, did she ask about me? She did ask about. did she ask about? Did he ask about me? They get that little bit, and they've never kind of Winter has never been allowed to have like any kind of romantic foil.
Yeah.
Since.
Yeah.
In fact, he's become kind of the goofy sidekick in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
He never gets a little bit like every other DI.
Mm-hmm.
Has gotten to have some little bit of romance here and there.
Yeah.
And for some reason with Winter, they just never allow it.
Yeah. And the thing is, and as we get into detective work, he does some really good detective work in this episode.
Yeah.
It's actually it's a good Jamie Winter episode.
He's doing his usual heavy lifting, literally in the case of carrying in Elsa's stuff. Watch Law and Order. They're supposed to do the lifting and moving and working while you interview them.
Yeah.
You don't do it for them. I loved in the opening where we get to see all the bunnies kind of like the hopping around and the text trying to grab them.
Yeah. It's like, oh, can I be that extra? Get to catch the bunnies.
We see Barnaby having great detective's instincts when Sarah mentions that Timothy didn't want photos of Hercules.
Mm-hmm.
Dudgeon has a great little acting moment where you can see the wheels starting to turn in his head.
Yeah. It's interesting that he has more clues about what happened to Hercules the rabbit than he has for the murders.
Yes. Well, there isn't a lot of clues.
We get clues. We have them. Yeah.
But that was like the kind of thing is like the detective should be getting them too, which makes it awkward and weird.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing with like we know that Errol is Lewis.
Yeah.
And then And I do kind of like it that we have more knowledge and are just a little bit ahead of the detectives.
Yeah.
Um, that happens. It does seem to happen quite a bit in this episode, which is a lot, which makes
Yeah.
us, you know, they should not have been able to solve. Like they didn't even technically they didn't solve this.
No.
They were looking for Errol.
Yeah.
Like so, they didn't technically solve the crime. They just happened to stumble across the killer,
Yeah.
which was, I like it when Barnaby actually. I like it when a Barnaby actually can solve the case and not just like lucks upon the solution.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, and it's usually they luck upon it while they're committing their third or fourth murder, and rather than actually solving the crime,
Yeah.
they don't, like you said, they don't really solve the crime. It's not until Winter comes out and sees that there's a shoe and a brick with blood on it. We see, the shoe falling off the foot. He sees, and then he comes out and he sees the brick in the shoe. We don't know if he knows that it's Errol's shoe because we don't know how observant he is about footwear. But at that point, he's just following along where that could lead because and then he happens upon Shrey.
There's a scene where Barnaby yells at the Benson family about their very obvious lies to him, and telling them that obstruction is against the law. And he just like it was such an empty threat because he's like, "You're going to stop lying to me later. I've got to go do something else."
Yeah.
which is the thing that drives me crazy in Midsomer is we're going to have this big conversation later in the episode where it's more thematically, dramatically useful as opposed to this is how a real detective would do these things.
Yeah.
We find out that Winter is a Stephen King man.
Not a surprise, actually. I would think he'd be a Stephen King man.
You know what his favorite Stephen King is? Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary. I don't know. I'm not sure he's into animals coming back to life. Though Hercules does in some form.
All right, home life. My first question with home life was when we saw Sarah and Betty at the fair. I was like, "Where's John?" Because here's the thing: if Betty's in a nursery and Sarah's taking her to a pet fair, it's clearly the weekend. He would be off work.
He should be off work. Yeah.
So what's he doing? Doesn't want to spend time with his kids at the pet fair.
Yeah. And you would think he would want to be there because I want to be there. Those scenes with Sarah and Betty are adorable. You really get the Fiona Dolman really likes working with the young actress.
Yeah.
And and she enjoys those scenes because
especially this one, because it's like, hey, what's your work day going to be? Oh, we're going to just go look at bunnies all day.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there's tedium to filming all these, and especially with animals involved, because animals tend not to take direction all that well. But that's a fun day out. That is a fun day out. Going to the pet fair. I've been to our, I love going to our county fair and seeing the rabbits and the llamas and the the baby goats, which are adorable. Yeah, and the ducks. I could go on about that. Yeah.
So the big home life subplot of this episode is the badger photo. Now, Betty goes to a nursery that has a mascot called Bernie, which is a stuffed badger. And apparently, the nursery wants every child and their family to take a fun photo with Bernie. Because, nurseries can usually compel this kind of behavior. And of course, parents have made it a competition.
Because parents do.
Yes. And because one mom took the animal up Kilimanjaro for the photo. And my question is, who takes a young child up Mount Kilimanjaro?
It's almost 20,000 feet. It's a mountain. You climb it. It's not something you just drive up.
I mean, take it in front of Mount Kilimanjaro, sure.
Yeah.
Again, child that young going on African safari, that's okay. It's not the easiest of vacations.
No.
But again, they'd say up Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
So Sarah is like, we have to take a better photo than this lady. I'm like, you are not going to.
No.
If they took that kid and that badger up Mount Kilimanjaro, they've won.
Even if they didn't take it up Mount Kilimanjaro and take it with Kilimanjaro in the background with, say, an elephant or a giraffe or a zebra right there, that person's winning photo.
The only way they would win this photo is if John allowed them and the badger onto a crime scene with a dead body.
Covered with bunnies.
And you take the photo there.
Yeah. That could have beaten the Kilimanjaro photo.
And that's how this show would end. But then you get things like Patty does not like the mascot, and when he gets a chance, destroys it. So they have to get a look-alike theme.
Yep.
And then there's a doggone badger hate crime.
Yep.
And then then for some reason, they let Betty bury it. It's on the ground. You think Patty's not going to just go for it again? But then the last scene of the show is that that John has come up with the solution to the photo is that they're all going to wear stupid looking bobby hats and pose in front of a cop car with the badger. And that's going to be the big photo. And the final photo, like they do a little photo montage, right? Where it's like, oh, they didn't look at the camera. Oh, they're making goofy faces. Oh, and this is supposed to be the good one. And that photo is terrifying. If I went to someone's house and I saw that framed on their wall, I would automatically assume that I was in a horror movie. It is not a good photo.
It's not a good photo. But, you're never going to beat Kilimanjaro.
No. All right. Final thoughts on Red. What the hell is this episode called?
Red in Tooth and Claw.
Red. Great title. Red and Tooth. What? All right. Final thoughts on Red and Tooth and Claw.
Like I said, I enjoyed this one. My initial grade on it was a B+ just because it has that cozy feel to it. It's got bunnies. I love bunnies. It's got, a guinea pig named Sprinkles, which definitely gave it that plus on there. It does have its flaws. And I think the flaws are the audience knows more than the detectives. The detectives don't solve the crime. And a lot of it is underexplained. There are clues you have to watch, that you're rewarded by rewatching because you get those clues. But, when you're doing a rather traditional mystery, you kind of need to explain some of those clues.
Yeah. I would say B-. It is a cozy mystery. There's a lot that's underwritten. But every 15 minutes they show you a bunny and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm willing to forgive this for a little bit just because I got to see a bunny again.
Yeah.
It's likable. It's a likable episode. It's not a great one, but it's likable.
It's very likable. This is a nice mug of hot chocolate with mini marshmallows in it.
Yeah, it's not. I like watching it. I had no real problems with it. It's like it's when you analyze it. Yeah, there the center does not hold, but it's likable as you watch it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's all we really have to say about it.
It's fun and it has bunnies. Bunnies.
All right, that's everything we wanted to talk about. Now, if you have anything you want to discuss about Red and Tooth and Claw or Midsomer Murders in general, please feel free to email us at welcometomidsomer@gmail.com. If you want us to use the email in the show, please say so in your email. We're also Welcome to Midsomer on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and we would love it if you would follow us on all those places. If you haven't already subscribed to us, would you please consider doing that, or maybe just rating and reviewing us on iTunes and Spotify? That really helps people find us. Telling your friends about us helps us out a lot. Turning on automatic downloads is a great way to help beat the algorithm. We're going to be back soon, and we hope you will join us again. And as we take the road out of Midsomer, we want to thank you for listening. That reminds you that in Midsomer, finding a sock can be murder.
Yeah, but really only in Midsomer.
Yeah, pretty much. Welcome to Midsomer is produced by Eric Buscher and Eileen Becker. All clips in this podcast are used in compliance with the U.S. Copyrights Act fair use exception for criticism and commentary. Our Our logo and podcast art was designed by Smeedrai. Our theme music is by the infamous Space. Dr. Marcette says I almost said stud again. Dr.
You can clip that in.